Hey everybody, it's Deanna and I am here, Fearless Entrepreneurship Live. I've got RJ Thompson with me again. How are you, RJ? You're like a regular on here.
Yeah, we're completing the trilogy today. I'm really
That's
excited.
it. And it's May 4th, right?
Yes,
And
happy Star Trek Day,
Star Trek.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Are you a Star Wars fan?
I am more of a Star Trek fan than a Star Wars fan, but I am a fan of both.
Okay, all right. I just watched Star Wars for the first time, probably a few months ago. Maybe when episode 14 started, I watched, I think I shared with you like episode 7 or series 7, whatever it is, right? The
latest trilogy.
So yeah, so May 4th, I'm like, we got to have RJ back on Monday again. No glitches. The first Monday I've had you on without a glitch. We're on a new platform, so it's kind of cool. Today, I thought I was going to talk to you. I thought it'd be really cool to talk to you about creating a brand because you do an amazing job with branding. I've seen some of the projects you've worked on, and it's just, you do a really, really good job. So I know that's a question that I get a lot when it talks about, people are asking like, what is a brand? So I'm going to ask you, what is a brand?
Oh man, great question. So, I mean, you can take this from a number of different angles. If some of you out there are looking to sort of brand yourselves or, brand a product or a service, the meaning and the definition will sort of change. But really a brand is, and from my perspective, a brand is an identity that you consider yourself, that you want others to believe in. It is a symbol, an icon, and not just in the literal sense. It is a philosophy. It is you. It is your identity, and everything that you want to be or be perceived as is your brand. And a brand isn't just defined and then it works. Brands take time to nurture and mature and grow and evolve. They require constant work, and they really do. And they require a lot of strategy, but also a willingness to research beyond who and what you are to gain that objective sort of perspective on what it is that you're trying to do. The brand is the signifier of you or your goals or your position in the marketplace. So it really depends on what you're trying to brand. In some cases, I'm branding a product that is meant to appeal to a certain demographic or target audience. And you design an identity that, appeals to that base. In some cases, if you're branding yourself, then it really is more about you than it is your customers or your target audience. So you can go any which way with that.
Yeah. Is it important to have a brand? Like, do you have to sit down and strategize about it? Like, does it matter?
Yeah, absolutely. Branding is everything. So says the branding guy, right? Of course it's everything. But, we talk just to focus on the personal perspective of branding for a moment, we talk a lot about, what's your elevator pitch for your services or you as a professional. And that is inherently your identity, all right? Even though you haven't given that sort of, perspective on yourself any visual shape or definition. So what's your elevator pitch? Is it short and sweet and concise, or is it a bit more elongated, or are you using like a particular type of phrasing or more out of touch vocabulary? There's so many variables, but branding is everything, and you want to be able to communicate a lot to someone by saying very little. So if, say for example, you have a logo, or when someone looks at that logo, you want them to understand as much about you as possible without really saying anything. And that is an impossible challenge at times because, products, services, companies, people, they're multifaceted, they're multi-layered. And you're never going to be able to get the whole story out in one sort of way unless you empower your brand in a variety of different contexts. Design, marketing, how do you speak about yourself or your products? I mean, what's your pitch? So I think branding is everything. And if you're not branding yourself or your company, then I question how effective your marketing is. In some cases, you know, branding comes naturally. So like for you, Deanna, the branding is you, right? Your brand is you. It came naturally. It did not define you. You defined it. And that's a great relationship to have to what is essentially your marketing asset, your identity to other people. So branding is everything.
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little
Please.
bit.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite branding project that you've worked on so far?
Great question. So, you know, it depends. So I would say first off, right now, I'm rebranding or branding for the first time 14 different libraries in Cambria County, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
How do you brand 14 libraries that are all sibling libraries, by the way? They're all members to this larger library system. How do you brand them all and make them different from one another? That's been an incredible challenge and a fun one, because you could use a book cliche for cliched book design rather for every single one of them and it would work. Yeah. But one of the things that we're trying to do is cultivate unique identities and personalities within these libraries. So a lot of that comes down to what's the average sort of patron usage of the library? Where is it? What does the library actually look like? Does it have any architectural features? The people that staff the libraries, are they fun and personable? What's their programming look like? And we were able to, over like a 6-month process, create individual identities for all of these libraries that we can then put into power. And, you know, that's going to help them bring people in the front door. It's going to help them get new generate more numbers with library cards. It'll even help them do fundraising. So it's been an incredible challenge. We're almost done.
Oh, you're kidding. How long have you been working on that? Because that would be really challenging.
We signed the contract in November, got started in January, and we just we've pretty much wrapped up all of the libraries right now. We have a few outstanding, 2 or 3 that need to approve their designs. Yeah. So that's been really great. And one of the things that I love about this particular project is that libraries tend to be the center of any given community. Everyone knows what the library's been. Everyone's been there. They may not be regular users of the library, but they know what it is. And if a community does not have a center to it, the library is that in substitute. So I'm really excited about the outcome of this project and being able to take on more library clients and teach them just exactly how to market themselves and bring people in that, you know, had no interest in the library before. Right. You want to know something really ironic, though?
What?
So this is a rather ambitious project for our client, and they've never done this before. And for the library spaces, you know, marketing effectively and having some strategy to it is rather innovative. So we sent a proposal to the Pennsylvania Library Association annual conference, thinking that, oh, you know, this is something that, you know, will really appeal to them. No, we were rejected. Our proposal was rejected, right? And they said, we don't think, I don't recall what they said. It was some boilerplate language. But the funny thing about it is that a week after that happened, we got our rejection. We saw that they all of a sudden added a marketing program to their conference agenda. So
how funny.
Yeah.
So you may have
good
had
luck
a
to
little impact in that, huh?
Maybe. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that's been an enjoyable project. And then of course, we rebranded Liberty Township, Ohio, which was a lot of fun. That was very research driven, research intensive, a lot of surveys and focus groups, in-person connectivity.
Yeah.
So
I remember when you were doing that. I remember you guys asking for information like focus groups, or you were creating it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was cool. So let me ask you this. So if I am starting a business,
yes,
right, and I need to create my brand and I have my product or my service, where do I go? What's the roadmap for creating my brand?
Well, first off, if you're a newly minted entrepreneur, the first thing I would say to you is that your brand, your logo has nothing to do with you at all as a person or your personality or your soul, right? Your identity needs to be constructed based on what your customers are interested in or what will appeal to them. So one of the challenges that I have with my clients is, we'll design some really cool, logo identity, brand identity that we really love for a number of reasons other than it just looks visually cool. And they'll be like, well, I hate this. This doesn't make any sense to me. This doesn't represent me. And I have to tell them, I don't give a shit about you. It's not about you. It's about your company. I'm trying to help you make money. I'm trying to help you grow your company. It's not about you. It's about what resonates with your customers, your target audience. So if your favorite color is green and they love purple the most, we're going to use purple in your logo, right? That same philosophy would apply if you are marketing yourself. Like, this is RJ Thompson's company, and I am RJ Thompson, and I am the consultant. The same thing applies. Like, yeah, it may not represent you truthfully with respect to that, but it appeals to your audience, and you need to listen to them because they're the one cutting you checks.
Yeah.
So generally, I say start with that recognition, and utilize that as an advantage because it helps you maintain objectivity about yourself and others. So if you are going to be a consultant and you're putting your name on the front door, right? You may need to consider that people don't want to work with you because maybe you have X reputation in X field, or maybe you don't have enough reputation in X field to be a consultant. Inversely, or not even inversely, but alternatively, look at your competitors. How long have they been doing what they're doing? Do they deserve to be consultants? Like, what makes you different from them? So if all of your competitors are using dark blue, dark green, gray, and gold, well, damn it, you're using magenta or pink, and we're going to bring some energy to that color palette, to your competitive sphere. You're going to differentiate yourself immediately and call attention to yourself and ideally blow them out of the water. So where others are zigging, if you zag, and even if zagging is against your better judgment in some cases, like sometimes you got to do it to create that differentiation.
Yeah.
So a willingness to be objective, a willingness to research your competition and understand who they are will help you understand your industry better, not just from a personal point of view, but an objective one. You may discover that, wow, I don't even know if I want to practice in this sphere, or in this industry. Maybe I should go do something different. Like, oh, if I sell beer, I don't really like some of the reputations of my competitors. I don't want to fall into that trap. I'm going to go sell wine instead. So being able to do that research and have an objective look at it, is going to help transform your business, but also give you a clear sense of who you are, what you do, why you do what you do, and ultimately how you want to communicate what you do and how well you do it to your existing and potential client base.
I love that you brought up color. So I am a psych nerd. right? That's what my degree's in. And I have this weird obsession with color psychology. So I love the way that color influences the way that we feel and the way that we instantly think about something, right? I mean, everything is based on emotion. Every sale we make, every decision we make, everything we do, the core of it is an emotion, which branding is, that you're bringing out some sort of an emotion of how that brand looks. So I love that you're talking about colors. Because I mean, I love it. Like the orange, when I launched Sassy Girl Media, I had the orange and the pink, and it wasn't just by chance. Like, you know, orange is social and it's freedom, and the pink is, you know, it's a little bit softer. It was kind of more of a purple, which is like a little bit of a royalty. So that was my ego kind of playing, and it's transitioned into a pink. But I did my homework because I wanted those colors to represent something, because we do. Is that something you sit down and do you go through color psychology, or not as much?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can take this from a few different perspectives, but I'll give you an anecdote. So when I first graduated, when I graduated with my bachelor's, I realized that, you know, I want to have an elevated profile in the design community. I wasn't trying to be a celebrity or anything like that, but I wanted to be known. So I wanted to have a large network. And one of the things that I was always getting compliments on was my eyes. My eyes are really blue. They're not Daniel Craig level blue, but they're pretty blue, right? And so, like, I was getting that compliment a lot, and I figured, well, you know, instead of making a logo for myself, I'm just going to use a color. So I ended up using like this kind of baby blue color that I took a photo of my eyes, actually, and I sampled.
Did you really?
Yeah, and I used that color. So that way, when people saw that blue, it would associate with my eyes, and there would be some connectivity there. And it worked out really well, because it was an upbeat color. It was a softer tone, but it still had some vibrancy to it.
Yeah.
And I did that for quite a while. And to this day, I personally do not have a logo. I just use different colors. So the latest color I'm using is like it's a dark, it's not like stop sign red. It's a darker red. And I don't recall why I was using it. There was a reason. It's been around for a while. I haven't changed it, but nevertheless, I was using, so now I'm just using like this darker red color. It might have had something to do with my affiliation with YSU at the time, with Youngstown State.
That would make sense. Yeah.
So anyway, you know, tethering it to something that you do frequently. So like if you wear a lot of yellow, right? Maybe, you know, you use yellow, or your glasses are like this purple red color, you know, you can use that. Otherwise, you know, I take a hard look at color from a research perspective. So I generally don't want clients to use red. Red means stop. Red means danger. Stay away from it. And it's hard on the eyes. Red does not work with a lot of colors other than white.
Right.
So try to stay away from that. But generally, when we're doing the branding work, we try to do surveys. We ask existing clientele, prospective clientele, longstanding customers, etc., what colors appeal to them and why. We have them list adjectives and emotional touch points affiliated with those colors. So that way I can say, well, you know, our clients, you know, collectively, your clients really like this upbeat green yellow color. It reminds them of spring, and you're a lawn mowing service, so, you know, it makes sense to use that. And what we do through that process is we actually justify the design decisions that we're making. Oh, you don't like that yellow-green color? Well, I'm sorry that you want to use rainbows and gradients in your logo, but the people that are paying you say they want this. It may benefit you to listen to them. Because if that's what resonates with them, then they're going to respond to it. So, relative to color in that respect, we research it. But then also on a technical level, are the colors that you're using correlate to the emotional touch points that you're assigning to your own brand? So, for example, one of the things that I ask my clients is, if you could hold X in your hand, so let's say it's the word community, this concept of community. If you could hold community in your hands, what would it feel like? What would its texture be? Would it be heavy? Would you need two hands? Would you need to bring people over to help you hold it? Is it smooth? Is it round? What? So we get them to explore those concepts abstractly. Yeah. And that results in some really interesting answers.
I bet.
Yeah. So they're like, well, community feels round, but it has rough edges. It's not entirely smooth. It's got like a gravel texture, but whatever. So, but they eventually come around to color, and they're like, for whatever reason, blue and green really resonate with us. Well, yeah. Sky, grass, kind of obvious.
Right. And blue's trusting too. So that's always a good, that conveys trust. Facebook, Twitter, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of brands are using blue because, it conveys trust. So you need to trust. So, and a lot of banks have blue in them as well.
Yep. Blue and green and orange. Blue, green, orange, they're emotionally, they can also be neutral colors. They work in a variety of different color palettes on different backgrounds. So they have a lot more versatility when used in practice, versus, your straight reds or purples. Right. Yellow and orange go with certain shades of purple, but not all. So it gets really technical on color. How's that color look on a screen? How's that color look when it's printed? There's just a myriad of variables you have to consider with that.
And that's true too. And a lot of people, when we're talking about this is more of a logo type based, right? Which is part of your brand, obviously. But when they're coming up with a logo, it's like, how many colors are you using? Because it may look really good, but how is it going to look when it is printed? And how many, it's not just a card. You're getting something embroidered. How many colors does it have? Is it going to be easy to see or hard to see? So a lot of people don't think of that. They'll just create some sort of a quick logo and think because it looks great on their computer, but then it won't look good branded anywhere else.
Any good logo works in full color, in black and white, and on inverse color backgrounds. So meaning if it's a red background, then your logo has to look good in white. Right? Or if it's a black background, it has to look good in white. It has to work across all of those different formats and placement opportunities. If it doesn't, then you've got a problem with your design. And, I've had to be the bearer of bad news to some clients and say, like, I'm sure you loved your designer, but they don't know how to make a logo. They certainly don't know how to make a brand identity. What's your logo going to look like on the side of a truck? How are you going to walk a vendor through that process? Can your designer do that?
Right.
There are some designers that are specialists and do some things really, really well. So, for example, like I do branding really, really well.
You do,
right? But you may not necessarily want me to make an animation for you. Right. So you gotta choose the right designer for the right project. So it's not like your designer is going to be a one-size-fits-all, one-stop shop kind of person. So use the right tool for the right opportunity.
Right. We had a question Lori had asked, and I kind of answered this, but she asked, why did I pick orange and pink and for my branding? And like I said, orange is social and it's confidence, and the pink is more compassion and sincerity. So what was funny is, like, I did my homework and I researched those colors about what I wanted my brand to represent, right? And orange is also a freedom, I believe. I think I remember that correctly. But I'm like, okay, entrepreneurship, it's free, and you've got this business, and so like I pulled all these components and I came up with the orange and the pink. And then it was probably because when I put it actually together, it never hit me for probably a year. And then the one day I saw a Dunkin' Donuts commercial and I'm like, oh my God. I have the same colors as Dunkin' Donuts. But when I was doing it, the way that like with Sassy Girl Media, if you look, the font is a very clean, thin font in a sense. So it's very clean and simple. And I didn't catch it right away because I was just in my own head until later. And it wasn't even looking at my logo. I drove, like I saw, I think a Dunkin' Donuts commercial. And I'm like, oh my God, they're totally copying me.
That's funny. Did you also happen to live near a Dunkin' Donuts?
Pardon me?
Did you happen to live near a Dunkin' Donuts? Did you go there frequently?
I do like Dunkin' more than Starbucks. But you know what's funny? Is out here in Montana, there are no Dunkin' Donuts.
What do they have?
Chick-fil-A. There's a Chick-fil-A. There's a Chick-fil-A up north. I think it's in Kalispell. But there's no Dunkin', no Chick-fil-A around here. So, yeah. Wow. It's funny what you missed. Love that you researched the covers to the level that you did, and they do complement well. All roads lead to coffee. Yes, they do. So
that's what I got.
Oh my God, I absolutely love it. but yeah, so I didn't even realize what I was doing.
For my present company, Plus Public, I just went with black and white. There's my company logo right there. It's just in black and white. And one of the reasons we chose that is because we didn't want to show any preference towards any specific color. Because when we're rebranding communities, we're finding that there are a lot of blues and greens that practically every community wants to use for whatever reason. And we just decided let's be as neutral as possible. And the cool thing about it is, when we finish a project, depending on the brand colors that we use for our clients, so like we rebranded Liberty Township, Ohio, they used blue and red, right? But there was an off blue and an off red. So we were going to have shirts made that would have the Plus Public logo on there, but they would be in those colors.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, so it was kind of a way of saying we were going to give the Plus Public shirts to folks and say like, hey, thank you so much for helping us build this identity. Here's a Plus shirt with your Liberty color logos on it, and we maybe put the logo on the back or something like that.
I love that. I love that branding idea. I think that's such a cool idea.
Yeah, the only color that we are using in like our pitch decks and proposals is a turquoise, shades of turquoise and teal. So they're neutral colors. They can be dull but vibrant simultaneously. Yeah. And they usually offer good contrast with white. So that was a very specific decision. We're not using any pinks or oranges like that.
So I have one more question for you.
Sure.
And I get this question a lot, and so if you're a personal brand, right? I don't have an actual logo. I just have two fonts, mainly one font, but there's a second font that I use for the name across the board, whether it's Sassy Girl Media or Sassy Girl Entrepreneur or anything that I do, I use those same fonts. Is that okay, or is it recommended to have a logo? And you're not going to offend me in any way. What are your thoughts?
You're technically using a logo, except it's called a logo type. A logo type is a logo that's just made out of typography, out of words, right? A logo can be an icon, it can be type, or it can be a combination of the two. So I don't think that you have to have an icon. I don't think that's necessary. I think logo types are just fine, and there's some amazing logo type work out there. Ultimately, I think if it works for your audience and it resonates with them, then you're good. Don't feel like you have to have an icon just because everyone has an icon. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Coffee's catching up with me. Yeah, it's the fish tacos I had. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even if you do have an icon, it's going to take you a long time to build up the equity in that icon to where it can be represented individually, right? Think of McDonald's, think of Nike and some of the other comparable corporations that sunk billions of dollars into their marketing. You may never get there. So don't feel obligated to have an icon. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I want to get there where they are.
Sometimes less is more.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you so much. I had fun. I love having you on. I appreciate you sharing so much good stuff with all of us. So just thank you. Until next time, right?
Until next time. That's right.
Awesome. Well, you have a good day. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I will catch you all on Wednesday, actually. I'm going Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now. So we can spend a little time in between to promote whoever is going to be coming on. So thank you again, RJ. I appreciate you.
No problem. We'll see you later.
Bye.